afternoon, good morning. It is noon here on the East Coast, so we'll get this kicked off. Thank you for joining. Today we are going to do just a general Q&A section of questions that I've been getting directly from agents that I work with, that I know, as well as just general questions that are out there that seem to be of most interest here as we end the first month of 2025. The main areas that we are getting these questions that we're seeing are last week's topic, lead generation. That's the big one. That's how do I get to do business with more people? How do more people know what I do? How can I generate warm leads? So check out last week's webinar for specific lead generation tactics, sales strategies. That's one of the main areas of the questions. Next, navigating the current market, obviously, and then overall business performance. So hit each of those topics. I've got a bunch of questions here, some grouped together under topic headings. I'll go over each of those. Just again, up front, I'm Mike Salitro from Accomplished RE. We help real estate agents do a couple things: scale, grow their business, and we help them stand out. Generally, that is identifying the strengths of your business, doing more of those things, and eliminating the things that your business cannot provide, does yet to provide, or does not want to provide, or can find other avenues to provide that to the clients who want them. So digging in, lead generation, big topic. Again, we did 45-ish minutes on this last week. So check out that video. I'll put a link in when we post this to go back to specific lead generation tactics. I think there's 12 or 14 of them, that things you can try in your business, handful of them. But as far as specific questions, how can I generate more leads in this competitive market? So I've got this kind of 1 and 2 together. What are the most effective lead nurturing strategies in today's environment? So what we talked about when it comes to lead generation is this 3-pronged approach. So lead generation is obviously first. And what I outlined is, first, you need to connect with people, provide them value, and then ask. That's where you are converting them from a lead to a prospect, or a lead to a client. A lead, prospect, client, however, whatever nomenclature you use, but from somebody who's not doing business with you, converting them into someone who is now doing business with you. So generating more leads, the first piece of that with more is just getting to that ask more often. I will highlight that there is not a set amount of time for connect, providing value, and asking, nor is there a is there a requisite, if I need to do 3 things to connect, 3 things to provide value, then ask? No. But you do need to follow the order, and that's the big thing. It'll be different for each of your clients is how much providing value time there is. And sometimes all 3 of these things might happen at once. You might meet somebody, connect with them, tell them, hey, I'm a real estate agent in XYZ market, and I focus on XYZ properties. Oh my gosh, I have one of those. Can you help me sell it? You're right there, you're at the ask. Or you might connect with somebody via social media, via an ad you're running. They might subscribe to your newsletter. They might attend webinars like this for 3 years before there's the ask to do business, or before that time comes. So there's no set time, but that's kind of the path you want to think of. Connect, let them know what you do, how you might be able to solve their real estate challenges, or things that come up, their problems. Provide value, demonstrating that you do that. Many different ways to do that. Again, as I mentioned, email, newsletter, webinar, referrals, introductions, things that show this is what I say I can do. Here's the proof. And then ask, are you ready to buy? Are you ready to sell? Are you ready to invest? Whatever that ask is, or they might be asking you for inbound if the providing value has laid that groundwork. It's like, I am the best real estate solution for you. Here is the proof. And so that there are specific, again, going back to last week's webinar, lead generation tactics, there's a bunch there. Check those out. But what you want to do to generate more leads is more often get to ask. And the most effective lead nurturing strategies is going to be client dependent. There's not, for mostly all of this, there's not a one size fits all. So I think I have it in here later, but ask your clients how they want to be communicated with, what actually is valuable to them. That's the big thing, that sometimes we just will assume that because it's valuable to one client or valuable to another, or we think it's valuable, we want to make sure it's actually getting value that they find it valuable. And the example to think of here is you might have these amazing refrigerator magnets. I know this is basic, but to think about it, and you might consider that, hey, I mail these out every season. So 4 times a year, you get a refrigerator magnet with my face. So of course, this is valuable. Your client, your lead might get this and throw it right into the trash. It might not be valuable to them. So actually ensure, and part of this is ask, confirm that the value that you think that you're providing is actually valuable to that end user. And that's one way to improve closing rate and convert more leads into sales, is that during that provide value phase that you are actually giving them something that they can use, whether it is that magnet, if that is valuable to them, if it's a CMA, if it's updates on their neighborhood, if it's something that they would not have had without you. So when they get to the point of I looking to buy or sell real estate, that you are the only solution for them. So highlights here for lead generation. There's plenty of different tactics that you want to closely tie to the mission of your business. You want to connect with more people to get more leads, obviously. The way to convert more of them is to provide actual value to the people that you are connected to as leads. And then when you ask, it needs to be the right time. How do you know it's the right time? Ideally, it's the inbound lead because you provided so much value, they have no other option. There's no other option for them besides you, or you have created a dialogue in that provide value. And at some point, you are asking for their business. Next here, the next grouping of questions are around technology. I'll go through these fairly quickly and I'll take the last two together. How can I leverage social and digital marketing to attract more buyers and sellers? So again, I'll get to this later with having a specific mission tied to your business, tied to your skills, and tied to a avatar for clients that you want to work with. Where agents go wrong here, technology or not, is, well, who do you work with? I work with anybody who wants to buy or sell real estate. If that is your target audience, your core client, you likely are running a failing is strong, but a not optimized business. And that's why I've got buyers and sellers listed here. If you are looking to indeed attract more buyers and sellers, you should look at those as separate line items. There are different things that somebody consuming social media content, looking at your digital marketing, your advertising, are going to be interested in if they're buying or selling real estate. I know that's obvious, but the way this question is worded is how a lot of people think that I want to leverage social media to get more buyers and sellers. You want to connect on a one-to-one basis with your core client. If your core clients are sellers, as they should be, because you want listings, your messaging should be geared towards people selling homes. And then if it is targeted in that way, it will naturally eliminate or rule out most buyers. They will see it, but it is not going to be targeting them directly. And this is a minor distinction, but this is really important. If you're looking to target everyone, open to everyone, you're really focusing on no one. So if you do indeed want social media to outreach to buyers and sellers, you have different messaging for that audience. Understand who the audience is, work backwards. So if you want buyers and sellers, different message for both. I recommend niching down to one of them generally to start. That way you know that it is indeed your core client and that's who your digital marketing and your social is geared toward. How can I leverage technology to streamline my business operations? This question is kind of the example of, look, is there a way that I can get tech, AI, whatever it is to do the stuff that I can't do, or to be the silver bullet for everything that ails my business? The answer is no. There is not a app, a CRM, AI, technology, any of those things that will replace a failing business, or that will, there's things that you can leverage to boost, there's things that you can do to streamline, but there's no one app, there's no suite of tools that is going to rescue a business that doesn't have a strong foundation. I've got Leda listed here because anytime anyone asks me about streamlining, this is where I go. It's a very basic activity, and it's something that if you do right and check in with monthly, quarterly, you'll see real dividends in your business. So the first L stands for love. Identify 2 to 3 things that you love in your business. These are the things that Usually are tied to what you're good at, what your past career might have been, where your skills are, what you like to do. Keeping those front and center, those are things you should do most often, so long as they are bringing in the core clients that you want to work with. Next is your automation. What things are you automating? What things should you be automating? Here's where the tech piece comes in. If you have things in the automated piece specifically that you are not yet automating, are there tools, is there technologies that can do that for you? So email marketing type thing. Are you sending out direct emails to everybody? Is there a way to batch that and to make it easier? Next, delegation. Are there things that you are asking others to do that you're delegating, either through other individuals, through technologies, through apps? What are you currently delegating? What should you be? 2 to 3 of each of these again. So for that automate and delegate piece, how can technology take that off of your plate if it's not already? Sometimes it's hiring somebody else. Sometimes it's utilizing resources at your brokerage between admin, marketing, transaction coordination, things like that. Last two, limit what are things that you want to spend less time doing. The one that I always keep front and center is scrolling on social, because that's not valuable to me or my business. So I keep that on my ladle, because if I find myself doing it, like this is something I want to limit, or if not, eliminate. I should not be doing. What is something that provides little to no value to my business and or my core clients? What can I eliminate from my business? So ask those questions, all five, but specifically the automate, delegate, limit, and eliminate for technology. How can technology save me time, take things off my plate, or add value to the things that I'm already doing? That's the question you should ask. There is no silver bullet technology suite of tools that is going to provide you a successful business. But if you're looking to streamline, optimize business operations, answer those five questions, check in on it monthly or quarterly, and you'll see some real dividends in your business. So looking at today's market, and I'll just stop here. I've got my eye on the question box. If you have any questions as we go through this, if you're here live, submit them in, raise a hand, and I can go to you. I am admittedly always late on those, so I apologize if you're waiting, but I will keep an eye on the box. Check in now. I do not see any questions at this time, so I'll keep going. Today's market. What are the best negotiation tactics for today's market? This is not a great question, but I highlighted best negotiation tactics. Any good negotiation starts with information. Knowing who the parties are, what the situation is, always will lead to the most advantageous outcome for your client. And it's impossible to know all of the information, because some of that is closely held by the other side. But knowing who the parties are, what the motivation for selling is, why, if you're representing a buyer in a transaction, why they're looking to buy, what they can offer dollar wise, what they can offer as far as terms, how quickly can they close, things like that. And then asking the questions of the other side. And then when you don't have the direct information from the seller, for example, why they're selling their house now as opposed to before, where they're going. If you have that information, great. But if it's something that you need to infer or make your best guess, get as much background, as much information as you can from the situation, and then use that in your negotiation tactics. If you've got a seller who needs to be out next week, that is a real timeline. That obviously is something that you may be able to use to your advantage, because it's a piece of information. If you've got a seller who does not need to sell a property, is looking for an all cash offer, no matter how good of a negotiator you are, if you've got a client who needs an 80% mortgage, it doesn't really matter. They're looking for an all cash buyer. So knowing each situation, the strengths, the weaknesses, and the opportunities of each, and there's ways to do that, asking good questions, knowing your market, knowing the players, knowing current trends is the way to best handle those negotiations. Similar question here: how can I best navigate the current market volatility and uncertainty? Market's always going to shift. Even in a good market, there is going to be a squeeze one way or another. So the best way to navigate it is to stay in it, have constant real estate conversations, do your homework, keep yourself informed, know who, again, going back to the last question, know who the parties are, know what your specific situation is, and apply the frameworks that you've got to have the deals closed successfully. Same with key trends shaping the real estate market in my area. This goes to the last question. Knowing what those are, knowing how you can specifically communicate those. And going back to what we talked a little bit earlier, the different audiences. As I'm talking now to a real estate audience, I don't need to go into specifics in some areas. But if I'm talking to someone who has never purchased a home or someone who hasn't sold a home in 20 years, there are things that I want to make sure are crystal clear to them. So know who your audience is, know what those key trends and how they impact that audience, and know how best to communicate them. How can I effectively communicate market conditions and trends to my clients? So kind of the wrap up here. We talked about this in the last section. Ask them. You want to have frameworks built out for your communication, your email, your calls, your text, whatever your communication methods are. You want to have frameworks built out of how the communication generally works. But where the ask them comes in is, what are they looking for? So who are your clients, and what is the information they're looking for, and how do they want to receive it? You might have some clients who need text messages every day to get a daily update. And that might be something that another client within your core client group has no interest in. I don't want you sending me text every day. Send me an email at the end of the week. Make it include these 5 things. So ask them, what is their communication preference, both in terms of content and how often they should be communicated with. And then ultimately, what is the format you want it in? Is it text, email, phone call? Is it a combination? A lot of these things, people will tell you they want one thing, and then as you go down the process, they'll realize, well, I thought I wanted a weekly email. It's actually not enough. Can we make it 3 times a week? I said to call me every day at 8 o'clock. Actually, 8 o'clock is a zoo around my house. Can you call me close to 11? Ask them, keep asking them, check in, make sure that they are getting communication, both the content and the frequency that they want, as well as the mechanism that you use to make that content. So client fulfillment. This is something that we have talked about as part of the client experience journey that we outlined. The journey has, as we look at a client experience, 3 prongs: the lead generation, the lead conversion, and this last one, client fulfillment. So how can I effectively manage client expectations and build trust throughout the transaction? So this is a lead who has become a client. They've signed on. Let's use the example that you are listing a property for a seller. So effectively manage expectations. You want to set that path beforehand. You don't want them guessing of where we are in the process and where are we going. So I've got client journey here. And this is an exercise to do with all of my clients. I recommend you do it if you haven't done it. From A to Z, what happens when you first start talking about putting a property on the market to getting to the closing table for that seller? What is everything they can expect? That you don't need to go into specific details in this report, but think about it as your client journey, your client frameworks. What are the things that are going to happen along with every transaction? Now I've also got 80-20 here. This is the rule of thumb. Although you've got this journey and this framework for everybody, going back to how people want to be communicated with, they don't necessarily care as much about every piece of that journey. They may be more focused on one versus the other. Example being, you've got a listing and you've got a family that lives in that property. They're going to be very concerned about the showing schedule. How much time are you going to give me to clean up my house? How much time are you giving me to get my kids out? Are you going to do all of your showings at 3:30 when I am waiting for my kids to get off the bus? That's probably not going to work out. So, or you've got somebody who is selling a second property, an investment property they are not stepping foot in for months. They don't care about the showing schedule. They want to know what is your marketing plan? What are you doing to get more eyeballs on the property to get it sold? So have the journey, have answers to all those questions for everybody, but know what they actually care about. 80-20. Again, 8 out of 10 people you're going to use your frameworks with from start to finish, but know where in those frameworks you want to focus in, and that's going to be different for everyone. How can I handle difficult clients and situations effectively? This goes back to the attracting buyers or sellers. If you have your core client, you communicate to your core client, you work with your core client, you're going to have fewer difficult clients. If you are in the business of, I work with anybody who wants to buy or sell property, you're going to have more difficult clients and situations. So doing each of the things that we talked about as far as targeting those leads, converting those leads to people you want to work with that makes sense for you to work with, and then having a journey, a predictable and a predictable outcome for them, and one that they can proactively follow along with if that's what they want, you'll avoid the majority, if not more, 90% of the difficult clients situations because you'll be proactive. Things will always come up. There will always be problems. We'll get to that kind of at the last part of the questions we have here. How can I build stronger client relationships? This ties into working with the right clients. And then this is asking for your business. Should your business go deep or wide? And what that means is, should I niche down very specifically? Should I work with only listings on in a certain zip code? Or should I work with everybody in this city or town? Well, the answer is it depends on you and your business, but most of the time you want to drill down deep for your core, for what your specific business does. And then you want to look wide for ways to differentiate and diversify your business. Where businesses go wrong is where they only go deep into one category. So using this example of I only sell homes in luxury homes in this market. Okay. Well, what happens when people are not buying or selling those luxury homes? Your business can't stop. You still need to be able to produce revenue. So, are you looking at luxury homes in other markets? Are you looking at a relocation program? Do you have a referral program to agents who work with non-luxury properties? That's the wide piece. Go deep on your specific business, your specific skills, your core clients. That's the 80%. 20% go wide for when there's a market shift, when there's less of an opportunity for your niched market, when things change, either unexpectedly or ways that will happen over time. You've got other revenue streams, where there are other ways to make income. Creative ways to stand out from other agents. This ties into working with the right clients. I'm going to take all these questions together. What are the best ways to build a strong and sustainable real estate business? And how can I develop a strong personal brand and build a loyal client base? So there are examples and tactics for each of those things, but I want to hit on this four corners that I work on with my clients, ways to think of their business. So the first being mission and vision is what I call it. And your mission obviously is why you do what you do. Accomplished RE. We help real estate agents build stronger businesses so they can scale and grow, stand out, differentiate and stand out. That's what we do. We are passionate about helping real estate agents work with their core clients, work with people they like to work with, and do things better, different, and easier. So what is your mission? How do you describe it? Can you make it in a way that you can communicate with anybody? Can you make the vision real for them? And this ties to your core clients. Why do they care? Why is your mission aligned? And how is this something that they're going to think of when they are buying or selling real estate? The numbers that scare me is I think everyone knows, or the average person knows, between 10 and 12 real estate professionals. So that's terrifying. So think about it. Even if you're doing a good job of staying front and center, there are 9 to 11 others that they know of that do the same type of work that you do. So how do you stand out? Why do you do what you do? Why does it resonate with them? Why should they care? Why should they call you when they are doing the thing that you help people do, buy or sell property? 2, organizational alignment. All right, you've got that foundation down. Your mission is it's clear why you do what you do. It's clear who you should work with. It's clear when they should call you. Organizational alignment. Think about this as are they getting the same messaging from all aspects of your organization? Is it clear to them why working with you is their only option? The example I like to give is you walk into your doctor's office, they hand you a form, and you're filling out the same information you filled in the last 10 times you were there. Thinking, why are you making this more difficult? Why are you setting up these barriers? When you have this information, why do I need to update it? Well, things might have changed, sure, but think about it from your client's perspective. Is this as streamlined and easy for them as possible? Is working with you the best option? Likewise, if someone's calling your brokerage, they're going over all of the specs on the listing of their home. They're trying to sell their home. They speak to somebody, it's an administrative person in your office. They go over all the address. They go over the number of bedrooms, the square footage, is there a pool? How old is the property? All of the things. They go through an entire property out on the phone. Then they get on the phone with you and you ask them the same exact questions. Be aligned within your organization so you make it easy for people to do business with you. The other thing that you want to do is you don't want to create any dissonance between the messaging that they're getting. Example here, you are messaging, your branding, your social profile, luxury properties, high end, expensive, things that you would attract high cost properties. But then they pick up the phone, they go to your broker's website, and it's a budget brokerage. And then there's this disconnect here of, well, you said that you're luxury, but your broker's marketing says that they are budget or lower cost or lower value than luxury. What's going on? You've caused this dissonance in them where they are getting confused because it's mixed messaging. That's where the alignment is important. This payback power, profit multiplier. I'm playing with those two terms. Really, this is ROI. Energy, time, money. Where are you spending those three things in your business? And what is the return you're getting on each? Your payback power. If you're spending $10 on advertising, how much are you getting back? Unfortunately, most people don't know where they spend their time, their energy, their money, and that's a big problem. An equally big problem is, oh, I know how I'm spending $10 on advertising. What are you bringing in? I'm bringing back $8 worth of closed deals. That's not a very good return on your investment. That's a negative $2, negative 20%. So you want to make sure that where you're putting your time, energy, and money, the return is positive and it is as maximized as possible. And then the last piece, the signature client journey, or the signature client journeys. You want to have journeys for starting with buyers and sellers. If you work with both, if you work with you say, well, I only work with investors. So what are they investing? They buying or selling property? Well, both. Okay, so start with your buyer, seller, and then for investors, somebody investing in this market. Here's what's important for them. Here's what the information that they want. Here's what their journey is going to look like. Somebody who has invested in this market is looking to sell to buy a different property. It's a little different, but they're selling, not buying. What does that journey look like? Seller, investor versus somebody who has a first home or a primary residence is going to be different. So having the signature journey for that specific client type of yours. Start with buyer and seller, work down as appropriate. Miscellaneous. Let's see. No questions submitted, so keep going. How can I improve my time management and productivity? So one of the best things I've gone over ever about time management, and this was in a book I read a few years ago, time management is kind of BS. It's not a real thing. It's possible to manage time. Time is always going to trek forward. You can't stop it. All you can do is be as productive and do the things that you can during that time. And the way that it was presented was, instead of thinking about managing your time, manage your priority. What is most important to you? And this ties directly back to that ROI, that payback power we just talked about. If you get the best return on, let's just use the example for lead generation, your best return is outbound phone calls, and you never do it, but it's your best return on your time. How can you prioritize doing that more? So if your top priority is getting more leads, converting more leads, turning them into clients, and you have documented that the best way for you to do that, or the best return on your time, is to outbound phone call, that's where your time should be spent. So to answer this question, time management and productivity, start with your calendar. Block as much time as possible, outlining what you're going to be doing, and then stick to it. Sounds basic, but you'll be shocked at how easy it is to deviate if you don't have this on your calendar and you don't keep the appointments that you have on that you have scheduled. For example, if it says from 8 to 10, I am going to do this, not necessarily that I'm going to go meet this person for coffee. I have a listing appointment. I have an opinion of value. No, 8 to 10, I am going to make phone calls. You hold yourself accountable. You prioritize the things that are most important for you, your business, and you'll see they actually get done. That's how you stay more productive. Building out time for breaks, time for family. We're not, all the things we do, it's not to work more. It's not to have just a business that you are at the mercy of 24/7. That's not what we're trying to do. You want to prioritize, make the time you're working as productive as possible. Now, how can I develop a positive, resilient mindset to navigate the challenges of real estate? I left this question in here because this is a big question, and this is one I generally will get from clients, but I don't spend a lot of time, I'd say, teaching or going into, because you need to be an expert on mindset to really help others on this. And there's some amazing content out there. But I highlighted the word challenge because that's how I like to think of it. There will always be challenges. Some people like to think of it as something is always wrong, there's always a problem. And just having your mindset in thinking about, oh, something has gone wrong again, the negative spin there is one that is going to bring you down, likely slow your productivity. It's going to lead to lesser results. We're thinking of here's a challenge. This is something that I am up for doing. I have put in the work. I've got the practice, the training, the past reps, however you want to think about it, to meet this challenge head on and bull right through it. So instead of thinking of things as problems, woe is me, another thing has gone wrong, I know I'm going to face challenges. How do I face it head on? Prepare, be prepared, have solutions, and know that you can't prepare for everything. So, how can you take what you've done in the past to make what's now faced with now a challenging situation to make it a good outcome for your client, for your business? Um, the thing to think about there is I love this quote that don't ask for calm waters, build yourself a stronger boat. There's never going to be calm waters. The water is always going, there's always going to be something that's challenging. The stronger you build your boat, i.e., yourself, your business, your practice, you'll be able to withstand those waters. And I want to wrap up here with the questions you most likely get from people. And this is the most common question real estate agents get. Is it a good time to buy? Good time to sell? Is it a buyer's market? Seller's market? Uh, I like to I like to think of what I was taught in law school as far as answers to questions like this that start with opinion and that are supported by facts. Uh, you want to stay away from answers of never and always. It is never a good idea to answer a question with always because there's always going to be an exception. So never and always should not be the answer to these questions. So is it a good time to buy? Certainly is. Well, it's certain is like all. Is it really for everybody? No, there's always going to be exception. So it depends is a starting point for each of these four, and you support it with facts. Is it a good time to buy? Well, why do you ask? Is it a good time to sell? Well, here is what we're looking at in our market. If you're thinking buyer's market, well, here are the current rates. Here's what buyer's power is today versus what it was 3 months ago. Here's what we're forecasting in 3 months. Being able to answer these questions intelligently without, in a way, it sounds like you're dodging them. Is it a good time to buy? Well, it depends. Most people are not going to just let you off the hook with it depends. Well, what does it depend on? Knowing what it depends on in your market. So if you using the example of you work with sellers and buyers, is it a good time to buy or sell? It depends on what for sellers and buyers in general. For this buyer or seller, for this market, being able to go through your practice, you've done the research, you've done the homework, you can speak intelligently about this, and then being able to compare the current situation to the prior situation to what we're likely forecasting. So, what I want to stress on as we wrap up here, when you're asked, is it a good time to buy or sell? A lot of people use this as, oh, I need to convince this person that it is a good time to do the thing they're asking me about, so they'll work with me. That is the easiest way to get yourself in trouble. If it is not a good time to buy or sell because of the objective information in your market, communicate that to your client. And then again, it still might depend. Is it a good time to sell my house? Oh no, prices are down. Buyers are looking. You have the opportunity to uh, view many properties, and there's more listings than buyers, so demand is down. Well, I need to sell my property because I just got a new job that takes me out of here, and I need to sell this house. And actually, I don't care if I don't sell the top of the market because I really want this job. I need to move. Okay, so it might be a good time to sell for you if you're okay with those terms. So asking the right questions and then being able to answer honestly and objectively what's happening in your market because you've done the work. So kind of wrapping up here, I'm just going to scroll back up, thinking in terms of the four things we have here. The foundations of your business, the mission, vision, organization alignment. Why do you do what you do? How do you communicate it? Who are your core clients? How do they know that when it's time to buy or sell, it's time to do it with you? Where is that aligned? How are they getting this information? And how do they know that you are the only solution to their real estate challenges? Then the payback power, the profit multiplier, where you put your time, energy, and money, is it getting you the returns that you want? 85% of people don't know where they're spending their money, where they're spending their time. So at least start with knowing where you are putting those things in. Use the calendar. If you don't use a calendar at all for a week, 2 weeks, every 30 minutes, write down what you just did. So you look back at the week and say, well, I can't believe I spent X amount of time doing this. Uh, the 30 minutes I spent here was way more valuable than the 30 minutes I spent here. More time doing the things that are more impactful, have a better return in your business. And those signature client journeys, being able to start with buyers, sellers, and then niching down as specific as your core clients are to what they can expect to working from you or working with you, how you communicate that to them, how they want to be communicated with, and what's important to them. So, not seeing any additional questions, I'm going to wrap it up here. Again, I'm Mike from Accomplished RE. Please reach out for more real estate tips, tricks, tactics, strategies. We work with people in 3 different ways. We've got a school community, which is free and is going to be free forever, where we do these webinars fairly regularly. We have a team set up at eXp Realty if that's of interest. If your broker is not providing the type of environment that you feel your business thrives most in, we can talk about that. And lastly, we have one-on-one engagements where we dive deep into these 4 corners. So I appreciate you watching this whole thing. Stay tuned for upcoming webinars, and I wish you best of luck as you move forward in this real estate market in 2025.